This is a quick history of gravel. Gravel was first added in Classic 0.0.14a on May 27, 2009. It behaves similarly to sand, which was also added in this version of the game. Although gravel is affected by gravity, it didn't visually fall, but instead just instantly snapped to the ground. About a year later, in the first Secret Friday update, the falling block entity was added, so that when gravel and sand fall, they would properly visually look like they are falling when they lose their support. Just 4 days after gravel's addition to Minecraft, its texture was changed to be a little lighter with some slight color added, and it has some areas that break up the dotted look. The ability for gravel to have a chance to drop flint was introduced in InDev 20.100-19. With this, flint and steel can now be crafted with 1 iron ingot and 1 flint. Interestingly enough, the way you used to obtain flint and steel is that it had a chance to drop from a mob after you killed it, and before that, the player would just spawn with it. Also, here is a quick trivia fact about flint and steel. Before furnaces were added, you would smelt your items by using lava or fire from a flint and steel. The furnace was also added in this in-depth version to replace that functionality, making the iconic smelting way to smelt things. I'm just gonna move on. In the Inf Dev version of the game, gravel can now be generated in clusters underground, and the same was true for dirt. This was to help create a more interesting mining experience. As you know, now you don't just see bare stone and you just like, look, there's some dirt. Ooh, gravel, whoa. Interesting. Keeping that trend going, in alpha version 1.2.0_01, they made it so that patches of gravel can be generated in the nether, replacing some areas of soul sand. And this was to add variety to the nether, since it was all just netherrack, you know, and soul sand, I guess. Gravel's world generation changes didn't stop there. In the first pre-release for beta 1.8, gravel beaches were removed. Gravel was then relegated to just generate as patches near or underwater, to give those like iconic disc shapes in the water that you see. This was also the case with sand and clay and other things or whatever, but but this is about gravel, okay? Gravel. Now, here comes the second texture change for gravel. In beta 1.9 pre-release 5, also the pre-release for the full version of the game, they changed the texture to appear a little more gray and have slightly more of a pepper/dotted look that makes it resemble the original gravel texture a little. And less than a year later, the texture of gravel changed once again, not lasting as long as its predecessor's lifespan of 2 years. The new texture went with a cleaner, less noisy look that has noticeable pebbles around the block. This texture became the gravel texture for a long while, but more on that soon. Because it's now time for the rapid fire round! In 1.3.112W22A, you can now trade a villager for flint with a block of gravel and an emerald. In 1.7.2.13W36A, ocean floors are now made of just gravel and gravelly mountains were added. In 1.8.14W25A, gravel can now be used to craft coarse dirt. In 1.12.17W06A, gravel can now be used in the recipe for concrete powder. In 1.13.18W09A, ocean ruins now generate with gravel. And that concludes the rapid-fired round. Okay, now it's time to talk about texture changes again. Woo! So the 1.3.1 gravel texture has held on strong for 6 years, but on October 24th, 2018, in a 1.14 snapshot, the gravel texture was changed once again, seemingly for the last time. This texture change happened alongside a slew of other texture changes, which was part of something referred to as the texture update, which updated many of Minecraft's textures. The new and current gravel texture kinda keeps the idea of visual pebbles, but it softens it up a bit and blends everything in a little. Personally, this is my favorite of the gravel textures. I think Joppa and all the others that worked on the texture update did a great job on the current gravel texture. I hope I said Joppa correctly. But hey, that's just my opinion. Feel free to share your personal favorite gravel texture in the comments below. Just tell me all about your favorite texture, which one you'll favorite. Moving on, in 1.14 19W14A, gravel and soul sand will now generate at lava. Wait, soul sand or soil? No, soul sand. Sorry. That will now generate at lava sea level in the Nether, instead of between Y level 60 and 65 as it did previously. It is almost like a spiritual successor to the old gravel beach biome, just in the Nether and technically not a beach, so not really. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. Here is the last gravel history fact. In the Caves and Cliffs update part 2, stone shores can now generate with large strips of gravel. Isn't that really cool? And with that, we are caught up with the history of gravel as of the recording of this video. If you have any ideas of what Minecraft thing you would like me to make a quick history video about, then let me know in the comments. If you like the video, then you may perhaps like some of the other content on my channel, so go check that out if you want. Also, I stream on Twitch every now and then, playing games and such or whatever, just having a good old time. And on I have a Twitter. I have a Twitter, and if you want to see my stupid tweets or rambling from me, then go there. If you want, follow me, whatever. And with that, I am done plugging my other stuff. Goodbye!